In a previous video, I showed you a line of the King's Gambit, which featured a kind of BONG cloud system with the king wandering up the board at an early stage. And I want to show you another game in this line between two absolute legends, Paul Keres playing white and David Bronstein playing black. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting us via Patreon or PayPal. So this was a Blitz game played in Zürich in 1965. Apparently both players had been giving a simul tour and they were treated to dinner by the president of the Zurich chess club, and afterwards they played some Blitz, and this was played with 5 seconds per move, and it really is a treat. Funny enough, Paul Keres was actually one of the players who popularized this system for white. He played a series of games with it, correspondence games actually, in the 1930s, way back. So it's funny to see him, playing this decades later. Anyway, black to play. Bronstein played here the principal move, which is d5, opening up the position to try and get at white's king in the middle. Knight takes d5. And now here you could say one of the main lines is to give check and play bishop d6, as we saw in the game that Spassky played in the previous video. But Bronstein plays here an incredibly risky move, as one might expect from him. He's very free and easy with material, and particularly in a Blitz game, that was his style. He just played knight f6. Of course, the critical test here is for white to grab that rook in the corner, check, and take the rook. But Keres took on f6. This is also very playable for white, actually. And knight f3, and bishop g4, pinning. And actually, positionally, white is doing pretty well here. If white can move that pawn up somewhere, one of these squares, and play bishop takes, white could be doing pretty well, considering black's wrecked pawn structure. In fact, continuing in the spirit of the BONG cloud system, actually quite a reasonable move for white here is to play king d3. So that gains time by attacking the queen, and after queen h5, just to play c3 and to tuck the king away on c2, and then to go for d4. It's not so bad, actually. You could also play d4 and c3 and king d3 as well. But Keres played d3, which is reasonable if we can just play bishop f4. And positionally, white is doing pretty well with a strong structure. So therefore, bishop h6 defends the pawn, but maybe more importantly, hinders white's development. Queen e1, queen exchange would be nice for white. So the queen came back, queen h5. And here, Keres should just move the king back to d1. That's a nice little shuffle between king and queen. And it's playable for white. But he played queen b4 instead, which looks reasonable to bring the queen into play. But Bronstein refutes this in such a beautiful way. Knight c6, allowing queen takes b7. But then bishop takes knight, knight d4 check. And now white's king is going to suffer. Obviously, if it goes this way, then there's going to be queen takes. So king d2, knight f3. So Keres doesn't want to step into the line of the queen, so runs out. But now queen c5 check, king b3. The king is running. Knight d4, king a4. Now, just castles for black. This is looking pretty dodgy. After c3, Bronstein plays an absolutely beautiful move. Perhaps you'd like to think how you would play with black in this position. Pretty certain there's more than one good move here with the king on a4, but, well, Bronstein's move is absolutely brilliant. Queen b6. This is great stuff. And the game finished like this. Queen takes queen. Pawn takes. King b4. Perhaps, well, I mean, Keres is lost here. I mean, one can just take that rook in the corner, but Bronstein's move is absolutely brilliant. Rook a4 check. King takes. Rook a8. King b4. Why on earth did Bronstein give up that rook? It's all about freeing that square for the bishop. So now bishop f8 is possible. And b5 was the final move of the game. If king takes, then rook d8 is checkmate. Likewise, b5, king d5, rook d8 is also mate. Wow. For a game with just 5 seconds per move, absolutely beautiful. So there we go. That's what happens when the bong goes wrong. The king ends up in the middle getting checkmated. But seriously, this is actually not a bad system for white. If you want to know more about the King's Gambit, I don't really cover these lines, but other lines, of course, of the King's Gambit with knight f3, then do check out my 2 DVDs, PowerPlay 27, 28. You'll find the link in the description to the ChessBase online shop. And do check out my new course for Chessable as well. You'll find the link in the video description down there as well. Thanks for watching.